This video is not talking about how you can make money quickly, but with the right tools and patience and just wanting to learn, you are bound to be successful, okay? So not all Etsy shops take off within 30 days. In fact, my shop took 3 months to make $120, and for that, I'm grateful because honestly, it could be zero. Hey, good people, what's up? It's your girl Alex here, and I want to talk about how you need to embrace slow growth when it comes to being a new Etsy seller. And I'm also going to be talking about my vinyl decal business and if it's profitable. So be sure to stay to the end so I can show you my earnings that I've made thus far, and also talk about my plan to making more money in my vinyl decal business for 2023 and beyond. So I started my decal business back in March, and I'll leave that video here for you so that way you can check it out if you're curious. But I started that business because I already had the equipment and the skill set to get started. I think what stumps us is that we think we need all these big pieces of equipment, a lot of inventory, and even though there has been proof that you don't, I feel like a lot of people need to be reminded that you actually don't need a lot to get started. So I use my current skill set, okay? So when it comes to starting any type of business, and if you want to be on Etsy, you have to think about where is your current skill set. I already had a silhouette cameo for making t-shirts, and even though I no longer make t-shirts, all I did was pivot, okay, because that's normal too. I pivoted and I started my vinyl decal shop because I already had the equipment. I didn't have to spend extra money, and I used my equipment to be more strategic into opening my second Etsy shop. Etsy is a digital farmers market, okay, and a lot of us are just competing for our buyers' attention because let's be honest, you are in business to make money. Now, even though I had never run a decal business before, I knew what I needed to know, and frankly, I was just like, I'm just gonna figure it out as I go because that's what it takes to run a business. So don't be afraid if you don't know everything up front. I sure didn't, and I want to make sure that you know that that's normal to feel like you don't know everything when it comes to starting an Etsy business. Now, before I show you my earnings, let me just share this with you in case you're new here. I still work my corporate job, okay? So my earnings are going to be different, and just know that I'm human. I am not always wanting to be in my business. I do have days to where my life sometimes is just overwhelming and I don't have enough energy to pour into my business. However, I also want you to know that this video is not talking about how you can make money quickly, but with the right tools and patience and just wanting to learn, you are bound to be successful, okay? I also relied on my friends and my family to help me with my first few sales. Now, I know this is not the reality for everybody because sometimes our friends and family are the last people we want to share, us having a business with, but I feel like if you have even 2 people who are loyal and dedicated to seeing you grow in your life, use your village, okay? So I relied on my village to help me make my first few sales and get my reviews so that way my products were going to be pushed within the Etsy algorithm, okay? So don't be afraid to use your village. As far as my inventory, I relied on using Heat Transfer Warehouse. If you're not new here, then you know I use them faithfully, okay? And I actually caught one of their closeout sales for their adhesive vinyl. When I tell you that was all I needed to get started, and actually I worked backwards because I used the vinyl I already had that I bought from that closeout sale, and I started to think about what products can I make with the colors that I have. This saved me a lot because it was actually just like a $300 investment, and what I ended up doing was performing that market research, and then I was discovering what I could make, and based off what I could make, I looked at the colors that I had and I just got the going, okay? So it's really about being strategic too, but as far as inventory, you don't have to spend a lot up front, but if you could catch a closeout sale like I did, I strongly recommend that because then you already have so many options and variations that you can provide to your customer. It takes about 6 to 8 weeks for your listing to be indexed, and that just simply means it takes about 6 to 8 weeks for your listings to be shown to people, okay? Again, you guys, we are human. We're not gonna always feel like it, okay? So don't get hard on yourself if you're not uploading a listing every single night. What I do suggest is that you are consistent weekly and you go with the flow and just build up your momentum from there. So I say all that to say, when you see my earnings here in a second, you could just put 2 and 2 together. Okay, so we're in my Etsy shop and I'm pretty much showing you my earnings from March until now currently, which is actually June 23rd when I'm filming this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and filter just by 1 month at a time so you can just see the progression and also things I actually look for when it comes to knowing, how my shop is performing. So I'm gonna go ahead and filter this, start from March 1, okay, and then Perfect. Hit apply. Okay, so as you can see, with March being my first month getting back on Etsy, you can see my growth as far as visits, my conversion rate, how many orders I had in the month of March, followed by my revenue. So just starting from all the way over to the left here, I had 194 visits. I had 4 orders. My conversion rate was 2.1, and then my revenue $36.75. Okay, my visits increased 54%. Etsy does a comparison every year, so this is just a food for thought. If you are wanting to see your growth, your progress year after year, they give you that little disclaimer, right here. So again, I started in March, and so if I just hover over my listings, I would say I actually don't remember the actual day I started in March, but I knew I started in March. So basically, I'm gonna just go with this first one, okay? So on March 19th, I had 13 visits, and then as you can see the progression, it ebbs and flows, and then after the 22nd, it went a little bit lower, and then all of a sudden, March 23rd, I had 46 visits. Now, a few things, I did ask my friends and family, my close friends and family, those who I knew would really be genuinely supportive of me. I also charged $7 for my decals, and that's my price for every single decal because I provide free shipping. So if you're wondering what's a good price to start selling decals, hey, I do $7. It works for me, and that's just all I'm gonna say about that. Of course, you just figure out your price, what you feel like it's gonna be worth, okay? And so after the 23rd, I took a big dip, okay? I got 3 visits. But as y'all can see, the progression of I had a high day, 46 visits. I love that, okay? This could have been one of those days where I got an order. You just never know. And then as you can see, the chart just kind of rises and falls as the month goes on. So now let's check out April. I'm gonna go ahead and custom filter for April. So in April, still seeing really good growth. Listen, green is good to me, okay? And I'm gonna just stick with that. So for April, I had brought in 156 visits, 2 orders, conversion rate of 1.3, and then I made $21 in revenue. This chart looks a little bit more, I would say, consistent with up and down, right? So I feel like this is what a regular graph looks like. You may not always have a drastic rise and a drastic fall. It may just teeter, throughout the month, and that's what it's showing you here. What I started doing in April was bringing my products into my TikTok friends. So if you are not posting your products on TikTok, I need you to start doing that because you just never know, okay? TikTok is such a great platform to get your product out into people, your potential audience. So food for thought, do that, okay? If you're not, because it's going to help you out in the long run. So I started posting my products on TikTok. Now by that time, some of my friends were receiving their orders and they were leaving me 5-star reviews. When you have great reviews on your shop, Etsy bumps up your listings, honey. So make sure you're putting in that extra oomph, okay? When it comes to customer service, you don't want to be, afraid, don't be timid basically when it comes to your product. So all of what I'm sharing with you guys is basically what I did to help get the traction that I'm getting, okay? So again, slow growth is still growth, and I don't know about you, but to have green arrows and an increase in visits, month after month is pretty good for me. So that lets me know I'm doing something right, okay? When it comes to promoting on TikTok, getting good reviews, all of that is a combination of how my shop is going to perform and succeeding. So let's go ahead and look at May. Okay, so here's May. Listen, you're not going to always see green, right? I am a firm believer in that all types of data, whether it's good or bad, it's helpful for your business. I can look at this and say like, I got a lot of visits, but they somehow still decrease, right? According to May of last year. Nonetheless, I got 5 orders in May and I have a 2.3 conversion rate and I made $41. So I'm just like, I'm doing something right. So just because you see red, don't immediately think that it's like the worst of the worst or the end all be all. It's really good for you to collect all types of data so you can know what to do, right? To prevent a lot of those drops in your business. Still that constant ebb and flow when it comes to my shop. People are visiting for sure, so that's telling me a combination of things. My SEO, my listings are strong, my TikTok promotion is working, all of that stuff, right? Because I'm still heavily promoting on TikTok, and I'm going to because that's free traffic. I'm also adding my products to Pinterest. Y'all, so many ways to promote your products for free, so do not be afraid to do that. I had a really good day on May 26th, honey, 17 visits, and sometimes all it takes is having a few days out the month to have high visits to keep people and keep your listings becoming more active and fresh within the algorithm. So now let's look at June. And just like that, so far in June, I have an increase in visits. I'm also adding more listings this month, so that also helps your shop get bumped up in the algorithm. Etsy does like a soft push whenever you upload a listing. So again, if you didn't know that, when it comes to uploading listings, try to be as consistent and frequent as you possibly can, because all of this works in your favor. So I brought in 225 visits. Honestly, as of today, I've had 2 orders. Conversion rate is a little bit lower, but that's okay. We're still in the month of June, going into July, and I've made $21 so far. So, like I said before, embracing the slow growth. Not everybody is making fast money on Etsy, and it's okay if you're not, okay? The biggest thing is your mindset and knowing that what's possible for you once you get started, and learning your data to know what you need to fix in the future. Now, a decal business can be very profitable if you're willing to learn what it takes to stand out, do your product research, and also learn how to scale your business. I know that people love to throw the word saturated around, but just because a market is saturated does not mean that you shouldn't try it. Like I said earlier, I'm on track to making $3,000 a month from selling vinyl decals, and I'm documenting everything. So be sure to subscribe to follow along. In the meantime though, if you want to keep watching, I'll leave these videos right here for you to check out, and I'm gonna catch you in my next video. Bye.